Hey USHL fans, my name is Josh Starr and this is the U Show. On this week's episode, we'll take a look back at the Frosty Cup down in Frisco, Texas between the Fargo Force and the Tri-City Storm. We'll take a look at a top-tier matchup from the league from the past weekend, and we'll check in on the league's leading offense from Lincoln. We'll also get the players of the week, the top plays, and a conversation with referee in the USHL, Eric Arrigo. First, we'll start the show with the USHL Players of the Week. The USHL Forward of the Week is Jack Galanick from the Muskegon Lumberjacks. In a 5-point night with 2 goals and 3 assists, Galanick helped Muskegon to a 7-3 win over the NTDP on Friday. He has 3 straight games with a goal scored after adding another one on Saturday for a 6-point weekend in total. Overall this season, Galanick with 13 goals and 30 points for the Lumberjacks. The USHL Defenseman of the Week is Jake Delaney from the Sioux City Musketeers. In a 3-point night on Friday against Omaha, Delaney scored a goal and added 2 assists in a 7-3 win over the Lancers. He was a +5 in the game on Friday, and overall 11 points and a +15 rating for the Musketeers. The USHL Goaltender of the Week from the Madison Capitals is Caleb Heil. Heil with a 24-save shutout, the first of his USHL career on Friday night against Waterloo. He backed it up with 19 saves on 21 shots in an overtime win for the Capitals over the Chicago Steel on Saturday. Overall, Heil has 12 wins in net for the Capitals this season. Those are your USHL Players of the Week, and we'll now take a look back at a couple of highlights from the past week of USHL action. Last week, the USHL hosted its annual games at the Frosty Cup, this time in Frisco, Texas at the Comerica Center between the Fargo Force and the Tri-City Storms, as the teams split the 2 games in Texas at the Frosty Cup. It was a big-time matchup in Dubuque on Friday night, with the top team in the East facing off against the top team in the West, the Fighting Saints taking on the Sioux Falls Stampede on Friday night at home. It ended in a 3-2 win for Dubuque. Goaltender Jan Spunar was excellent. He made 35 saves on 37 shots. For Sioux Falls, 2 goals by their leading scorer, Ethan Wittenbach. But for the Saints, it was 2 goals in a span of 53 seconds in the first period by John Morello and Edison Engel that made the difference in the win. Finally, in the USHL last week, it was the Lincoln Stars continuing an onslaught of offense. 14 total goals over the 2 games for Lincoln, both wins, and 9 goals on Saturday in a 9-3 win over the Omaha Lancers in the win. 8 different goal scorers for the Lincoln Stars as they enter the week as the league's top scoring offense. As always, it was an exciting week in the USHL, and now we'll have a conversation with USHL referee Eric Arrigo. He had the honor of officiating the All-American game a few weeks ago and is always active on the USHL schedule every week.
Can you just talk about your journey to the USHL a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So I started officiating at 12 and joined a couple local development programs in Illinois. And just kind of immediately, as soon as I started reffing, I was playing hockey at the time and just loved it as a way to kind of get extra ice time, make a little money on the side to pay for hockey, and just found a passion for it. So there were a lot of influential officials in my local area, and they kind of talked about some opportunities to move up within the USA Hockey officiating development program and potentially get into the USHL and just some opportunities along that. So I started off in Illinois with those games, and then when I was 16, worked my first junior game in the NA3HL, and also was working in the Minnesota Junior Hockey League at that time. I didn't fully stop officiating, but I took 3 years, kind of a hiatus, and played junior hockey during that period. And after that, I took some time to kind of dig back into officiating, and Scott Zelkin had approached me at the NHL officiating combine and just said he was ready to have me start working for him that following year. So I started off as a linesman and then went full-time with the ODP at that point.
Okay. What would you say the biggest challenge of working at the USHL level is?
I'd say one of the challenges is on the ice, just the speed of the game is so fast, you really can't blink or take a moment off. You got to always be ready to go and make sure you're keeping a wide field of view and just everything in vision. Off the ice, there's a lot of travel that's involved with it too, so the lifestyle can be a little difficult sometimes, just putting in a lot of windshield time and spending time behind the wheel driving from game to game, and not always in the easiest of weather conditions. So just that off-ice component of the travel can be one of the hardest parts of it.
Can you also talk a little bit about the living situation and what that looks like?
Yeah, so my living situation, I personally live on my own. So just personally for me, that's what works best. But there's also league apartments where officials live, and I spend a lot of time in those just when we're on the road rather than getting a hotel. It's almost like an official's Airbnb in a way. So just go stay with our friends, and they're off wherever, we're staying in their place sometimes.
What made the USHL the right option for your development as an official?
For me as a U.S. official, it was just that's kind of the pathway that we take, and it's not the same as playing where there are various different leagues or a lot of different ways to do it. For refs, the USHL is kind of the prime way to go, and that's just where you want to be as a ref from the U.S. So.
What came easy to you as an official, and what kind of took a little bit more time to develop?
I think part of what came easy to me is I stay calm under pressure and under intense situations, and my skating ability helps a lot. As a player, I was kind of hard-nosed and found myself in the penalty box a lot, so I think just knowing that emotional component of it from that side of things has helped me to be successful. As far as things to work on, sometimes you want to let the boys play a little bit too much, so we need to make sure just to stay on standard of what either John Grant or Scott Zell can tell us to call for the games, just across the league to keep that consistency. And other hard parts, just sometimes when things do get really hot, just trying to keep that level head, not overreact in the moment. You hear a lot of different things, and you just want to make sure you trust what you see at the time.
What is it like working with ex-officials like John Grant and Scott Zell?
I think that's one of the best parts about the USHL is we have so many officials who have kind of gone through this pathway themselves, made it all the way to the NHL. We've got them, Rob Martell, Ian Walsh, Dave Madsen, a lot of other guys too. Keith Cavall and Kendall Hanley with the North American League too. Just a lot of tremendous officials. We have so much experience, so it's just great having them to be able to call whenever in the building a lot of the time too, just to get that immediate feedback and just ask questions conversationally, and they're always really helpful. So.
How do you develop as an official, and what are kind of your career aspirations?
As an official, the biggest thing is just getting more and more games and trying to focus on your physical fitness and just bettering yourself as much as you can as far as that fitness component. And just really, I feel like a lot of it just comes down to working games, because as a player you have practice, as a ref you have video, you have film, you have the rule book, you have tools to prepare, but there's only so much you can really do without just getting out there and doing it. So.
How has the USHL prepared you to work in professional hockey?
Just the speed of the game. All these players are going Division I at least, and most of them professionally after that. So several players I've officiated in this league over the past 7 years are in the NHL currently, and it's a really good level of hockey. So the speed's quick, and I think it's really going to help just having that feedback from all our experienced supervisors and just having all these games under my belt too.
Awesome. How did you get the call that you were moving on to professional hockey? Just that one first.
So I woke up to a text from John Grant on New Year's Day, and it said, "Call me, you're not in trouble, don't worry." And we may have had a situation the night before that could have warranted a call based on a video review. So I was a little nervous about it. I'm like, uh-oh, what did we mess up? And he called me, and I had been sick the week before too, so my voice was shot. I had a bunch of games, I could barely talk. He's like, "Hey Eric, how you feeling?" I said, about 80% right now. And he said, "Well, as long as you're feeling good by the 24th, because you got your first game in the ECHL as a referee." So
wow.
It's really exciting. And
will your family be there, or who's all going to be there?
Right now I'm still trying to finalize everyone who will be coming, but I know I will have some family and friends that are coming with. So.
Catching up with USHL referee Eric Arrigo. Now we'll get you the top plays of the week from the USHL.
Kawaja left, shot score. Misho, it deflected in. And Barabanov celebrating as it's his on the redirect.
And outletted through center. Block across ice. Engel rips into the zone. Dancing to the front. He goes to his backhand. He scores! It's another Saints beauty. 2-1 to Butte. Edison Engel, coast to coast. 7:13 left in the first. And Engel's second as a Saint has the Saints on top.
Here comes Galanik again. Nice move. Makes it a one-on-one. Fires and scores! Jack Galanik! Quick succession. The Lumberjacks, they lead it 3-1.
Played forward for Gully. Gully is in again with a shot to goal! Elliot Gully from that top of the left face-off circle. Beach Spoonar high, just under the crossbar. And
of Wisconsin leads this Waterloo team in points. Moe in the high slot, shot, scored! Mason Moe, 4:01 into period number one, gets our scoring started. His first goal since November 22nd. The centerman of the top line gets on the scoreboard.
The outlet, Jennershow cuts back and moves up the left wing for Coombs. Out in front, Morello to his backhand. He scores! An absolute beauty from John Morello. It's tied up at 1. 8:06 left in the first.
Sellers, Carcone, Peterson at the blue line. Peterson, nice move. He's in. He backhands out in the goal. Sellers! Off a beautiful feed from Peterson.
7 straight games, at least a point, and now one-timer score, Tobias Oman.
To the far wall. Ingles from there. The shot's hit free. Rebound. Saved by Spoonar. He sprawled out and dove and caught it with his glove. So much net to shoot at, and Spoonar able to stone more in front. What a save by Jan Spoonar to keep the Saints in front.
Those are the USHL top plays of the week. We'll now check on the standings and get you up to date on everything coming up in the USHL. This week, it's another 1-versus-1 matchup as the East leading Dubuque Fighting Saints host the Western Conference leading Lincoln Stars. On Saturday night, the Fighting Saints won the only other meeting of the season between the teams, and this wraps up the regular season series. In the Western Conference, a big series as well. Sioux Falls and Sioux City matching up for 2 games. The second and third seeds in the Western Conference battling it out for some big playoff points in the race for the Clark Cup playoffs. That is what's coming up in the USHL next week. Many USHL teams closing in on the 40-game mark this season as the standings are tight and the race for the Clark Cup playoffs is heating up. That's all for this week's episode. We'll see you next week on The U Show.